With the sixth season of NAGA football about to start, I thought it would be great to go through the entire St. Louis Sentinels roster and see how the team is going to be. To start, at quarterback, we're going to have Frank Romano starting. This is his first NAGA team. He was on the Carolina Hawks 2 seasons ago for a couple seasons after being an undrafted free agent. He went to the GFL's Carolina Hawks, was MVP after in his second season. Last season, though, he went 52% throwing, nearly 3,000 yards passing, 16 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. Had a great season last season. Keep repeating season. Probably will. He had a great season last season, and I cannot wait for him to improve. He's already an 84 overall, and I expect it to increase greatly. Behind him at backup, 78 overall, Travis King. He is a user prospect actually, and this would be his rookie season. He went undrafted despite being a 76 overall, 20 years of age, and went to Ohio State. Go Buckeyes. He's from Columbus, Ohio, and he hasn't recorded a single stat yet, because of course backup. At running back, we have David Willis Jr. He is the son of former NAG running back David Willis. David Willis Jr., of course, last season had 200 attempts rushing, 986 yards, and 6 rushing touchdowns. Impressive feat at an only 83 years of age and an elite dev running back. Receiving, he also racked up 43 catches for 407 yards and 4 touchdowns. I can't wait to see him do even better. He was a Season 3, Round 1, Pick 9 selection to Portland, who was a previous team, before being traded in a monster deal that's been talked about throughout the NAGA Discord server. The deal was the St. Louis Sentinels relieved David Willis Jr., Xavier Fowler, who is a strong safety who has been traded away prior to the season, sometime last season. I don't remember the exact details of the trade. And we traded away wide receiver James Murray, running back Josiah Bell, and tight end David Bechtel, as well as a second-round pick. It was a bit of a controversial move, I must say. The Sentinels decided to go younger and get away with arguably better overall prospects, talent. However, they were also much higher in age, so the St. Louis Sentinels thought it would be a good decision for them. David Willis went to Georgia State, and he's only 25 years of age. So hometown was at Anniston, Alabama. Bit weird, in my opinion. Behind him, to start the season, we had Xavier Roybal. From Las Cruces, New Mexico, he went to UTSA, only 23 years of age. He was an undrafted free agent a season or two ago. First season, 44 rushes, 219 yards, and 2 rushing touchdowns. He had 12 catches for 131 yards and 0 receiving touchdowns in his rookie season. Acquired from UDFA, and he has been on no previous teams. At third down running back, Julius Raymond from Detroit, Michigan. He went to Michigan State, is also 23 years of age. We have a very young team, if you can't tell. At 73 overall. He's been in also, if I didn't say, no previous teams. He was acquired again from UDFA and only had 1 rush last season, but it was for 12 yards. So he might get more touches, but that might have been a fluke. We'll find out. At fullback, one of the few teams who have a fullback, if I remember correctly, Tiago Correa. He's from Providence, Rhode Island, went to UConn in a low 69 overall. He's hoping to improve this season, and I do think he has potential in this offense. He is used quite a bit, despite what the stats say, only 11 rushes for 32 yards and 16 catches for 114 yards, but it's more than you would expect for a fullback in this league. He was acquired via free agency from the GFL. He was on the Arlington Raiders. Wide receiver, our first old guy, Terrence Carroll. He's from Fort Washington, Maryland. He went to Pitt 93 overall, and he was on the Austin Stars. He was a beast over in Austin, but got dealt to us for a first, a second, and a third. Very much a steal, in the ownership's opinion, and in a lot of people's, in my opinion. His stats last season: 31 catches, 727 yards, and 8 touchdowns. He's been in this league forever. He's hoping to continue to be a beast with the St. Louis Sentinels. At second, we had Lorenzo Martin. He's from Atlanta, Georgia, went to Tennessee for college at an 85 overall to start the season. His previous team was Orlando. However, we acquired him just from free agency due to cap problems for Orlando. They had to release him. We picked him up, and now he's the second string receiver. Last season, he had 27 catches for 651 yards and 3 touchdowns. Pretty good, in my opinion. At the third spot, DeAndre Garrett from Charleston, South Carolina. He's only 24. He went to NC State, 81 overall. Star Dev, if I remember correctly. And in his first season, 13 catches, 285 yards, and a touchdown. He was a season 2, round 4 pick at pick number 88. He's hoping to get many touches, and there's a chance that before the end of the season, he becomes wide receiver 2 over Lorenzo Martin. Lorenzo's starting to lose his overall. Garrett, he's been able to improve quickly, so something to keep an eye on. Behind him, Braylon Finley from Yatal, Alabama. Who knows if I'm pronouncing that correctly? He went to Missouri for college, and he's been on one previous team, the Colorado Springs Miners. He was acquired in a big deal. We sent the Miners a 7th rounder, a 3rd rounder, and right tackle Deontay Simmons, while receiving a 4th, a 7th, and of course Braylon Finley. Last season, he had 31 catches, 740 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Now, despite the lack of catches, he's been a pretty good receiver for this team, coming up in clutch moments. Unfortunately, due to the receivers ahead of him, he will be stuck at wide receiver 4 for now, though. But hopefully, maybe he'll move up 1 or 2 spots. Just behind him, Cade Johnson. I'm a big fan of Cade Johnson, not because he's my user-created prospect. It is because he's my user-created prospect, but also because he's based off a real player from South Dakota State, Cade Johnson, who I didn't watch South Dakota State growing up, but in his draft, I was very excited for him, even though it was just from one play. We drafted him in the Season 5 draft, round 6, pick 191. He's only had 6 catches for 21 yards, but I expect him to do better this season. And on the last spot, Jason Aquaviva at wide receiver. He's from Bellevue, New Jersey. He went to Penn State, 77 overall, 24 years of age, undrafted, and he had 1 catch for 7 yards last season. At tight end, who was in a couple rookie drafts ago, Jason Belaine. He was in a massive deal that I mentioned earlier from, what was it? He was in the David Willis trade from Portland. He has superstar dev, and despite what Axis has of not really passing the tight ends, I do think he'll be very good. 79 overall already, superstar development. It'll be very quick to get him up to 86 overall. Just throwing out a random number. So we're very excited for him. He went to Toledo. 29 catches, 424 yards, and 3 touchdowns last season. Very excited. A lot of rambling already, I know. Behind him, Nico Arena. A fun name to say. I don't know why. It just is. He went to East Meadow, New York, Miami of Ohio for college. Very random. Guess I'm considering going there. Ignore that. He was in the Joseph Romeo trade. We traded him away to the Colorado Springs Miners. In return, we got him in a 7th round pick in Colorado Springs. Last season, 5 catches, 34 yards. Hopeful to get an improvement. Spoilers, he had a touchdown. That's great because it's being recorded slightly late. He got a touchdown with 2 catches already. But we'll find out. JT Shelby is at tight end number 3 from Franklin, Tennessee. Went to Mizzou. He is a 74 overall, so he's not going to see the field much when the tight ends ahead of him are 77 and 79 overall. But, he's good depth to have. He's decently young. We're excited to have him. At left tackles, we have both Telvin Elliott and Daniel Gorman. Both of these guys, Gorman is pretty young and is looking to take over the left tackle spot over Elliott. If I do remember correctly, he was originally a center and he was moved over to the left tackle. So, hopefully he does well over at left tackle. At left guard, Sebastian Jimenez and Michael Grady. Another place where the younger backup, might eventually take over the starter. Both of them were acquired in massive deals. Michael Grady was acquired for just a fourth, and an older Matt Schaefer, sending him to the Sacramento Express. And I'm looking at the wrong thing. And Sebastian Jimenez, like Lorenzo Martin earlier, was acquired due to Orlando having cap problems. Not bad. And according to the lore, he is only one of 21 players with Mexican heritage in the league. Very interesting. At center, we have Brandon Florence and Adrian Collymore. Florence from Fort Lauderdale, Collymore, New York, New York. Collymore has been on 2 teams prior to this. Vancouver, a historically abhorrent program, and Florence been on Reno, who was an expansion team just last year's draft, if I remember correctly. We acquired him in a trading of Joseph Callender, Samaj Benton Fields, and a 6th-round pick for Brandon Florence, who's good. He's a good starter, but he's also pretty old, 28. Not very old. He's younger than Collymore, but we would like to get younger there. And Adrian Collymore, interesting though, he is the one of 2 of Trinidad. How do you pronounce it? Trinidadian. I'm gonna butcher that pronunciation. He is one of 2 of that nationality in the league. Congrats to Adrian Collymore. At guard, Andrew Slocum. Is that how you pronounce it? He was from St. John's, Michigan, 24 years old. He went to Central Michigan for college. Is already a 78 overall, and he was in the season 4 draft. Drafted in round 5 at 117. Hi, Cat. Hello. At right tackle, Milton Petaway and Braylon Granderson. Again, this nearly entire offensive line. The starter is much, much older than the backup and will probably get replaced by the end of the season. However, interesting thing about Petaway, he was acquired in the massive St. Louis Sentinels trading of Lamonte Jackson, who unfortunately is now in Tucson. Very unfortunate. Very, very sad. Speaking of which, Lamonte, if you're watching this, would you mind coming back to the St. Louis Sentinels, please? I'm just joking. You all were saying that my first video would be the St. Louis Sentinels' first video would be a 7-hour montage, just me saying, come back to St. Louis Lamonte. So I had to do that joke. Anyways, yeah, we acquired him in a massive deal. We got a first, a second, a third, 2 fourths, a fifth, and a 7th. And of course, left tackle Michael Hansen, who's already gone, and left guard Milton Petaway for Lamonte Jackson. Brilliant corner. Granderson, he's been on 3 other teams already. Vancouver, Oklahoma City, which is why I wrote down Oklahoma City and Minnesota when they're the same team. Who knows? They're the same team. Oklahoma City moved to Minnesota. Playing St. Paul, though, despite what anyone says, they do not play in Minneapolis. At defensive end, Jordan Hillard acquired in a massive deal with him in Isaiah Glover, who's off the team because he refused to resign, of course. We sent Jaden Powell, wide receiver Jaden Powell, free safety Malik Rose, first and a third, to the Fort Wayne Generals for those two players. Last season, he had 78 tackles. Wait, 7 tackles, my bad. And only 1 sack. I don't remember exactly how that happened. I'm assuming he was hurt for most of it, because that's what the stats said. Hopefully I misread, because that's not good production, Jordan. Behind him, 4 old heads, well, one's barely older, Corey Andrew, Tyrese Branch, Obi Nwoye, and Keenan Washington. Andrew and Branch acquired in, again, trades. About half the team has been acquired in trades and are hoping to make an impact. Andrew from Milwaukee, Tyrese Branch from Portland. He went to Morgan State because, of course, he did. Who knows where that is? I'm joking, even though I do actually not know where that is. Obi Nwoye and Keenan Washington. Obi Nwoye is from Nigeria. I will not be pronouncing that city name because I have no clue how to pronounce it. He played for Delaware and Oklahoma City / Minnesota, same team. Keenan Washington played for Raleigh and the GFL's Arlington Raiders. At defensive tackle, another old position, 31-year-old Randy Payne acquired in a deal where we sent a 4th to Tucson in exchange for Randy Payne in the 7th. He had 3 sacks last season. Impressive. Behind him, Jason Riley from Salem, New Jersey. He went to Virginia Tech, 30 years of age. He's played for Omaha, Iowa, Vancouver, and the Oklahoma City, now Minnesota. New team nearly every season. He's hoping to not get traded again, but with his age, we'll find out. We'll see. He might stay on a team just for good depth. Behind him, defensive tackle John Chowders from Columbia, South Carolina. He went to Kentucky. He's 33. He's not going to be in the team for long. And like a lot of these defensive tackles, he's been rotating around the league. Already been in San Antonio. He was on St. Louis before, actually. He's come back now. And also Raleigh. He also had 1 sack last season. These defensive tackles love getting to the quarterback, as you can tell. Our lone defensive tackle under 30, 26-year-old Kendrick Baines from Houston, Texas, went to Arizona. He's played for Iowa before, and he had no stats last year. At outside linebacker, he was formerly a defensive end, actually, DeAndre Cottrell. He had 62 tackles and a sack last season. Impressive numbers for the Ohio State player. Getting up there in age, but due to his production, he might be able to stay just due to that. The other 2 outside linebackers are Tyrone Shirley and Markel Joseph. Shirley's from Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. He went to Coastal Carolina. He's been to Virginia Beach, Tucson, and Memphis for previous teams. And he was acquired from the Mariners for just 2 fourths. And we acquired Shirley, Maurice Hammonds, and a 7th from them. A pretty good deal if you ask me. He had 30 tackles and 2 sacks last season. And Markel Joseph from UCF acquired him in free agency. He had no stats last year because he is a UDFA. Just past season. A middle linebacker, a pretty young middle linebacker core, probably one of the youngest cores in the team behind wide receiver and quarterback. Samuel Rogers, Isaac Morales, Jaden Mizaki, and Keon Littleton. Mizaki, how do you pronounce it, is 20 years old, 77, and a created player. Can't wait to see you contribute more to this team. I'm very excited for you. Rogers was traded. We got him. We traded Jaquan Anderson for Rogers, a right tackle, Eric Dahl, and a 7th round pick. He had 8 sacks, Why did I write it like that? I don't know why I wrote it like that. 58 tackles or something and 2 interceptions. Isaac Morales last season, 15 tackles and a sack. Jaden Mizaki and Keon Littleton. This will be their rookie years. Well, this is Jaden Mizaki's rookie year. He was released into free agency, and that's how we picked him up. It's a wonder, actually, that we were able to get him. Due to him being 20 and 77, so I'm hoping that he wants to stay with the team. Because he is going to be great. I just know it. At corner, an old head, Devontae Carden. He previously was on Delaware and Orlando. We got him from Orlando due to them having cap issues, so they had to release him. Could have got. Hello, Penny. The cat. Sorry about that. The cat dropped something. I don't. Well, not drop. Knocked something over. He had 42 tackles and 3 interceptions last season. Hopefully, he can continue on those turnovers. At corner, behind him, Justin Shepard. He was not lockdown per se, but he was pretty good for us last season, very surprisingly. And we got him, Jason Riley, in the third round pick for Rashawn Dancy, who was an amazing corner. Should have arguably kept him, but Shepard's been pretty good in his role, and I'm not too upset about him. Turning to the Gorgons. He had 48 tackles, 1 sack, and 2 interceptions last season for a second-round pick in the Season 2 draft. At the third spot, Maurice Hammonds from Montgomery, Alabama. He went to UCF he's been to Fort Wayne. Excuse what I'm saying. He went to Fort Wayne prior. His previous team was Fort Wayne. We traded for him in the Tyrone Shirley trade. He had 37 tackles last season. In the fourth spot, Jordan Batts, 25 years of age. And I'm pretty sure star development. So he's probably going to be 2 or 3 spot by the end of the season, hopefully. Especially for the old heads who are going to be dropping in overall. We acquired him for just a 4th round pick. We got him and a 6th rounder from the Sacramento Express. Thanks, Fast. He was a season 3 round 1. Wait, what? Season 3 round 1 pick 22. Hopefully he'll stay with the team. He's only 25, and we're excited to have him here. The final 3 corners, Reuben Howard, Jalen Buckner, and Antonio Moody. Reuben is an old 31, went to Chicago, lived in sometime with Chicago, Illinois. So he went to Illinois. He's been on Tucson and Delaware. He had 38 tackles last year. Jalen Buckner is a rookie who is hoping to get a couple snaps this season. So there's a lot of corners ahead of him, but he's also pretty young. Reuben Howard's probably going to fall below him in overall, so he'll definitely get the rise up, but we don't want him to drop in overall due to poor production. And final spot, Antonio Moody. He was acquired for a 5th and a 6th round pick, and he had 16 tackles last season. At free safety, Elijah Fitz and JoJo Rollins. Elijah Fitz is a good player and pretty young. We traded for him for Dion Bowman and a 4th round pick. Bowman was hopeful. He was only on the practice squad the entire time, but started to have hopeful, but 60 overall. I'm not sure why I'm ranting about him. And Elijah Fitz, he's going to give other teams the fits when he keeps picking them off. 58 tackles last season. Very excited about this. I'm realizing this is a lot of ranting. It's going to be a long video. Behind him, JoJo Rollins from Oakland. He went to the University of Nevada. He's been on the teams of Portland and Brooklyn, and in his free time, especially during offseason, he does philanthropy in Oakland for schools. He's a great person on the team. He's arguably, I'm not sure if he is team captain, but rumor is he might become team captain because he's a great guy. He's behind Elijah Fitz, but such a great guy that, Great person. We got him for just a 7th-round pick from the Brooklyn Regulators. At strong safety, second-year player Jalen Dunwoody. He was in contention for the Defensive Rookie of the Year, but he lost to I don't remember who. He had 78 tackles and 4 sacks last season for a 5th-round pick. Already an 80 overall. Jackie Meadows behind him. He's been on the GFL's Oakland Blazers and Albuquerque. Got him in waivers, and he's a UDFA. Waivers, if you don't know, it says waivers, but it's if you get the Defensive Player of the Year and the Offensive Rookie of the Year for the GFL. That's how they did it for the previous season, not for a quarterback. If you whatever team is the worst at said position. So since he was a strong safety, with the lowest overall strong safeties, gets him, and we got him. So thanks for coming, Jackie Meadows. I hope you did good for us. At kicker, Michael Dvorak. He's one of 2 Czechs in the league. The nationality, not the money. He was perfect on extra points, 29 for 29 and 28 for 31 on field goals last season for a 5th-round pick in the Season 2 draft. 87 overall. He's only been on Iowa, even though I could have sworn that I was told that he's been thrown around the league a bunch, so must have done my research wrong, or someone's wrong. Corey Hughes from Coral Springs, Florida, a punter. We got him for a 5th-round pick from the Minnesota Gorgons. He had 40 punts last season, nearly 25% end in the 20. He's a great punter. For the practice squad, we're going to go through this very quickly. Left guard Ryan Dirksen. Right guard Gabriel Saberstein. Left guard Brett Breitenhorst. Wide receiver Daniel Colwell. Center Sebastian Palma. Cornerback Alonzo Truesdale. Center Chris Lentz. Outside linebacker Trevor Skeen. Left tackle Thomas Ritter. Right tackle Dylan Newell. Strong safety Malik Miles. Quarterback Justin Acosta Garcia. Right guard Lucas Gagnon. Outside linebacker Nick Hope. LaMarcus English at free safety. And outside linebacker Marquise Johnson. It's a very young practice squad. Only one player over 30. The rest are under 25. A low overall practice squad, of course, because, practice squad, but I'm very excited about them. And we'll see what they can do. Hopefully they end up on the team. Thanks for coming for the first video. A lot of ranting about players and just saying what they are, like what their stats and stuff are. So that was probably boring. But, thanks for watching. Hope to have a great season. See you next time.